Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 5. So The Flash returns this week after its 1 week vacation, if you want to call it, due to the US election stuff that was going on, with the episode this week being episode 5, otherwise entitled All Dolled Up, which will of course feature the live-action debut of Ragdoll, which should be pretty spooky. But in this episode, we could also get towards the end, that is, most likely, a cliffhanger or like a major tease for the next episode, that being episode 6, obviously, called The Icicle Cometh. Whether that be a first look at Caitlyn's dad, as we know he was looking at her through those surveillance cameras a few episodes back, or it could be Caitlyn coming across like a massive clue that leads her right to the very end in her hunt for her father. But regardless of whatever that episode ending, tease, or cliffhanger is, we know that we will be officially meeting her father for sure in episode 6, and they have released the synopsis or description as well as official promo images for the episode, which are pretty interesting for a few reasons, some outside of actually the Caitlyn storyline. But of course, throughout this video, let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts. I'm sure you guys will have some differing opinions, so be sure to leave them in the comment section down below throughout the video. And of course, if you're going to enjoy it, dropping a like would be much appreciated to show your support. But here is that synopsis for episode 6. Caitlyn, Barry, and Cisco learn something new about Caitlyn's father. Meanwhile, Iris and Sherlock follow a clue about Cicada. So yeah, that synopsis was really short and sweet, and usually when that's the case, it means the previous episode might have, some big reveals. That might not be the case, and they just might have wanted to keep this synopsis really basic, but from what we've had in the past, when the synopsis for an episode is short, it generally means they want to keep certain things under wraps, so we might have some bigger reveals in episode 5, and episode 5 just looked like a filler episode to me, but, it might have some big reveals, who knows. So yeah, to start off, we will quickly start with the promo images regarding the side story for this episode, which is around Iris and Sherlock. They will be, as the synopsis does say, following a clue on Cicada. We did see Iris going over some stuff in episode 5's promo images, so this could be where the clue was located and found, and this is what pushed this story for this episode. But regardless of whatever clue they are following, the main thing that many people may have noticed, including myself, is that Iris and Nora are together, and Nora is smiling and not looking like she wants to throw a rock at her mother's car. So obviously in episode 5, it does seem like very, very heavily seem that we are going to have Nora and Iris like reconciling, maybe Nora apologizing, maybe Iris apologizing as well, apologizing for like her future self's actions, which would seem a bit weird, but anyway. But yeah, they're going to apologize. Now, I think the main thing that many people will say is that it's rushed, which, yeah, it is rushed. Like, let's be completely honest. Like, one episode, they're fighting and bickering and stuff like that. The next episode, it's all hugs and kisses. Yes, they're mother and daughter, but there was some pent-up aggression and rage there from Nora, so it does seem a bit rushed that they would be, all hunky-dory and, flowers and rainbows at this point. But the thing is that they had to just get through it. There's been, common complaints in the previous seasons about the show dwelling on tension and drama between characters. Like, the main point of reference is always the drama between Barry and Cisco back in Season 3 of The Flash. Everyone just really wasn't happy because that went on for a few episodes. Like, how long did that go on for? A while. Longer than we actually thought it would, and many people complained about it. So maybe they got the gist of that and they thought, well, we're not going to do that with Nora and Iris. But I have a feeling they probably should have. It just makes sense that maybe, I'm not saying that that Nora hates Iris for the whole season, but you'd want probably it not to be this rushed because of the big thing that happened last episode between the two. So you think maybe episode 6 would be the episode maybe where they'd reconcile, but it does seem that episode 5, due to those promo images and some other stuff, does seem like that's going to be the episode where they kiss and make up, or hug and make up, what do you want to call it, and just move on. And then this episode's really going to be showing the mother-daughter relationship, and Iris using her investigative reporting, Sherlock being the detective there, and I guess Nora chiming in with her CSI skills, maybe. I don't know. They might just want to have, they might just want Nora to do something in this episode. So maybe she's tagging along. And on a side note, there has been a common complaint or a common worry by someone. I have posed this concern as well, is once Nora reveals everything that has to be revealed, is the show going to struggle to keep her relevant? And I think the answer to that is Maybe, but we'll have to see. This might be the first sign of the show struggling to keep it relevant in this episode, but we'll have to wait and see. It's too hard to judge just off promo images, you know what I mean? But the first set of photos to go over in regards to the main story for this episode involves Caitlin and Barry in one of like the work labs in Star Labs, or one of the workstations, might I say, in Star Labs, where it does appear that Caitlin was doing maybe some sort of testing, whether that be on herself or possibly on something that she managed to obtain, maybe at the end of episode 5. Obviously, due to us, not having seen episode 5 yet, it is hard to get a full understanding on what could exactly be going on here, as episode 5 will involve a side story of Caitlin doing more research and investigating on the mystery of her father and his whereabouts. So she could be testing something that is found or discovered at the end of episode 5, or maybe she discovers something about herself at the end of episode 5. Who knows? Hard to tell at this point. We do get this image of Caitlin, Barry, and Cisco. So we have the OG team flashback together from season 1, and many people are excited about this. I think it was either Grant Gustin or Daniel Pannebaker, or maybe both of them. They teased that in an episode, which I think we all assumed would be this episode, when they're going after Caitlin's father or trying to find him, that we would get, like, I think this is what Grant said. I think he said original Team Flash. The 3 core characters back from season 1 would have an episode where they're working all together. And a lot of people were excited about this, and this is our first look at it officially. So it is really good to see these guys back together, these 3 people back together, because really, apart from season 1, there's been very, very few moments where it's just been these 3. I'm not even talking about a storyline. I'm just saying like a scene where they're together and they just share a scene and talk it out. It's pretty rare we get them. And I think it is something that maybe the show misses out on. And it's not some like sort of, I know what people are going to be saying, like, Paige, it's because you don't want Iris in the scenes. No, it's not because of that. One of the major issues that a lot of people have had is that Barry, they don't really show Barry having friends. And Caitlin and Cisco are his friends, but they almost just feel like work colleagues rather than friends a lot of the time. And they just struggle to really, portray that on screen that well. So hopefully this episode does a good job of that and doesn't just show them being like colleagues, like maybe like a Sherlock is to the team now, but actually shows them as like it's a friend thing. It's Barry and Cisco, helping Caitlin because they're best friends, and that's what they're doing. So hopefully this episode portrays that well. And I wouldn't be banking on us getting any more of this season. We might, but I wouldn't count on it. But we have to wait and see. But it is good to at least get one episode of these core characters doing something together. We do see Caitlin, Cisco, and Barry in like a chilly room. Obviously, it's Caitlin's father's lab or workstation, whatever you want to call it. There is some really weird stuff in here, though, from what we can see in the images at least. I'm guessing it will be even more strange and weird in the actual episode when we can actually see more of this workstation. But I think we see like a heart in a jar by the looks of it, or some sort of organ. I think it's a heart. But we also do see the characters looking up at like a big like tube or like big vial of some sort. So Bebo knows what's in there. I have a feeling it's not going to be the most pleasant of things. That's just a stab in the dark, but it just seems like there's going to be either like a floating corpse or just like a test subject, or God forbid it's like naked Caitlin's dad. I highly doubt that's going to be the case, but who knows what the hell is going to be in there. But I can't see it being a positive thing. I have a feeling that this little workstation of Caitlin's father's might be a bit horrific in some places. But speaking of Caitlin's father, this is our first look at Dr. Thomas Snow, Caitlin's father. Now, he's got that grey sort of frosty hair. He looks more like someone who is basically like a living ice block, or, an icicle. Now, obviously, Killer Frost is a bit more, glamorous in regards to how she looks, while Thomas Snow, in regards to his appearance, might I say, looks a bit worse for wear. It does look like he's struggling. It looks like basically this is just a way to keep him alive, rather than like an ability like Killer Frost is, where it's basically a superpower. What Caitlin's father has here, what Thomas has, is just basically something to keep him alive, and it isn't the most pleasant thing, but as I said, it keeps him alive. I guess the big question is whether he has to stay in this cold area. Obviously, Caitlin, Cisco, and Barry are in like those big, thick coats, so it must be extremely cold in there. I'm guessing it's far below sub-zero, or far below zero, might I say. So you would think that is due to his condition, like he has to stay cold, like his body temperature has to stay at a certain point. So I'm guessing there will be a story for a few episodes with him and Caitlin in regards to this issue, like figuring out how to possibly get him out of this place without killing him, or something along those lines. And obviously this explains the whole faking, death stuff. So obviously he had to stay in here. He couldn't go out in the public and stuff like that. So he was stuck here. I guess the big question around this is whether Caitlyn's mother came to visit him. That'd be interesting. Because I don't think Caitlyn's mother's going to say, okay, go to this address and that's where your father is. I don't think it'll be that simple. But I don't know. I'm interested to see what her mother plays into all this, because I don't think it's going to be the most pleasant of things. I think there might be some drama there, but who knows? I guess the big question around Caitlyn's father, around Thomas, is whether he is going to, become a villain, because it does seem like he is going to be portrayed as like an Icicle type character, if not just straight up Icicle from the comics. Like the name that was used on his death certificate was Cameron Marquand, who is the real name of Icicle Jr. from the comics. So who knows what's going on there? Obviously, whether that's just a little Easter egg and reference, or if they are actually going to make him like Icicle from the comics. It seems that way. Because Todd Helbing did talk about like there being 3 arcs this season. So people were sort of confused whether that meant like 3 arcs or 3 villains. So if it was 3 villains, it could be like Cicada, Icicle, and then whoever the final villain is, whether it be like Reverse Flash or something. But who knows how Icicle's really, or Thomas Snow might have said, is going to like function or work into this season. That's for us to wait and find out. He might not even be a villain. It might just be a thing for Caitlyn this season and diving into that Killer Frost stuff. But speaking of the Killer Frost stuff, will we dive into the Killer Frost origin in this episode? Maybe. They might save that for future episodes. It seems that this episode will really just be the hunt, the adventure, if you want to call it, looking for him, and then just maybe an introduction to the character, and maybe like a big reveal or two around him. I think that's really what this episode's going to do. And then episode 7 will really, maybe dive into some more stuff around that. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on the stuff we went over in this video. What are you looking forward to most in this episode? Do you like the look of Thomas Snow or possibly Icicle so far? Just give me all of your opinions in the comments section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.